Hey y'all! Well, I know some of y'all are going to hate me for this, but yes, we're doing another unboxing video. But we're also going to do a little bit of testing and do like an initial review of this Angel's Horn AH1 record player. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, we want to send you one of these things for you to review. And, you know, after some emails back and forth, they were like, oh, you know about vinyl and phono audio. It's like, yeah. And so we're going to dive into this thing and see what this thing is, what it isn't. I'm hoping that it could possibly be a decent platform to then hook up to a quality phono stage, put a nice cartridge in it, that the tone arm's not garbage, and that it holds a steady speed. We're going to be checking that, and maybe get some decent sound out of a really inexpensive manual turntable that at least appears like it looks pretty cool, but we'll see in a second. I did some research on it, and like, you know, it's talking about a quality cartridge and a little known fact, the high quality dual moving magnet cartridge, the AT3600L. Well, this is the bottom tier of AT's cartridges. I think the whole cartridge is less than $20. And so I can't expect the turntable at this price point to have a $250 retail phono cartridge. But yeah, that's kind of a, I don't know. Seems a little funky that they're saying this is a, you know, high quality cartridge when this is, I guess, compared to maybe some really cheap turntables, it is high quality. I mean, it's a conical needle, and it's got all the things going against it that would really make it high fidelity. It's also got a pitch control so that you can adjust the speed for more natural and smooth music. You know, I would hope that it would nail down the speed, but at least if it can't, it does have a pitch control. And I've got, and I'll show you, a strobe disc and see what the speed is. So at least you can adjust that if it's not dialed in. And of course it's got Bluetooth output, which likely is not going to be very high quality. And then it's also got a built-in phono stage, which I will be shocked if it doesn't sound like garbage. I mean, even some, to me, even the phono stages that are built into like a Marantz receiver sounds like garbage. So I got a pretty high bar. So the idea is to listen to it out of the box, then put a really nice cartridge on it. Maybe put something like the AT540ML on it, or the AT95 with at least an elliptical stylus. Might even do that because that kind of fits the quality of this more. But hey, we may put a really high-end one in it too, just to see if it can perform with that, and compare listening to this with my Technics 100C direct drive, you know, solid deck that's known for good sonic quality with a known good tone arm, and see how all that plays out. So anyway, let's take a look at this guy and see what it comes with. And here's the little quick start guide. It looks like it comes with a cover, dust cover. It's got the plinth. It's got a AC adapter, platter, all that separate. It comes with a belt. Of course, the instructions. And it looks very similar to the style that music hall turntable that I think I showed that in another video. But I had an OG music hall that had the glass platter, and it had the same kind of motor belt drive with a little plastic drum that the platter sat on top of that. So let's see what we got here. And here is the cover, and it's nice and very clear polished. I like that it doesn't have tabs like those Technics ones that break, that it's got like a slot instead of a, you know, tab that sticks out. And, you know, it's nice and clear, no scratches or anything, so that's nice. Let me go put this somewhere where it doesn't get messed up. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see what's next in the box. says here's the, well, this thing is really packed up nice. Let me just pull this whole thing out like this. There's that. And we have the belt and some other stuff. Looks like some instructions. Then we have another little cord there. And then we have the platter, which is actually fairly heavy. That's impressive. I mean, some of these turntables, the cheaper ones, the platters are out of like aluminum and they weigh nothing, and that may be actually steel, which is interesting. That's a pretty heavy platter, and that helps keep the speed constant having a heavy platter. So I like seeing that. Not sure how accurately they can make a steel platter, but we will see. And it looks like packaged pretty well, where it's not going to get damaged. And here's the counterweight right there. Let's get that out. Actually, let me get tape off. Looks like the AC adapter. And again, it actually doesn't need a real giant adapter to spin a turntable. There's not a lot of effort required. So here's your counterweight for the tone arm. It's good they don't leave it on there, because that would obviously get damaged in transit. And then we'll get the plastic off. Here we go. Here's our little spindle, which they put some plastic around. It's got your bronze bushing here that it spins on. And that spins really nice. So we've got a little wire tie here to make sure that the tone arm doesn't flop around. And for you phono newbies, it looks like the cartridge is pre-installed and hopefully aligned correctly. We will be checking that. Here's our little flip tabs for the cover, which if you were never going to use the cover, or you wanted to like just set the cover on when you're not using it, not having it flip up and stuff, it looks like it's just held on with some like screws where you can take these little tabs off if you don't like the way that looks. So we have 45, 33, so we're not doing the changing the belt on the motor deal like that music hall. That's kind of a pain, so that's nice. We got the on-off switch, and then we've got a pitch control that does have a center detent. So hopefully that center detent is the right speed, and this is just a little thing where you can turn the speed up and down for effects if you wanted to, for people that might want to play that little game. And so here's a belt. Let's see what else is in here. All kinds of warnings. And then here's another little more detailed instruction book. And then here's service thing. They have a birthday surprise. Got a 3-year warranty. And simply email us within 7 days to activate your warranty. Yeah, most of us know you don't really need to do that, but maybe you do with these folks. And here's our cartridge alignment protractor that you put there. And then it shows you where they want you to align the cartridge, which is a nice little added thing. Not all turntables. My Techniques one didn't come with anything to align the cartridge. And then here's some little bushing. You have to read the instructions to see what that's all. Oh, that's the counterweight for the AntiSkate. So yeah, we definitely have to put that little guy on. And then we've got a 45 RPM adapter. And then we've got our belt. And then we've got this little key, which is maybe for putting the belt on. That's kind of unnecessary, I would think. See if the belt looks like it's kind of naturally wants to go that way. So let's pop the belt on. So then we'll set our little platter on here. It comes with a little felt slip mat, which I'm not super crazy about those felt ones. And yeah, that looks... Now my only concern is that this definitely got a ring to it. It rings for like a while. I don't know if you can hear this. And that may be a thing where, I mean, there may be some room underneath here to put some sort of that butyl dampening stuff on the bottom of this to help deaden this platter as an upgrade. Again, this is a pretty inexpensive table, but, and maybe putting a rubber slip mat on here would help, because it still rings with this felt one. And we're not doing DJ stuff, we're doing a slip mat. And actually, I think it looks better like that. I don't really care to advertise for their turntable on the top of it. I like it I think that looks better. Anyway, it's a pretty nice looking turntable. Let me flip it around and get the tape off of that. And then maybe in this video too, we'll do a quick power up and I'll put the speed test disc on here, or yeah, whatever you call the thing. Put that on here and we'll do a quick speed test and see if the speed looks accurate. And then it'll be time for me to hook this thing up and see what it sounds like. And I do have a scale where I can set the weight on this, but let's just see if I can get it, how close I can get it with just the generic, you know, put the thing on and then the weight. I don't know whether you're supposed to, it's got a set screw in here, maybe, because that feels a little sloppy on that, on the shaft. And again, I'm not reading, I haven't even read the instructions yet. I'm just kind of winging it here. Yeah, because with this weight the way it is, doesn't seem very, wow. Because they're telling you to screw this out until it floats on its own, but it's almost falling off the end of the... I mean, the tone arm looks like the same design they used on the Techniques turntables, but we're definitely not at the same quality level. But hey, we're at a much cheaper price point too. So let me read the instructions. Let me get the weight set on the tone arm, and then we'll do a quick speed test and kind of wrap up this initial unboxing of this thing. Okay, so read through the instructions, got the rest of this set up. It uses this little fishing line and weight AntiSkate mechanism. Music Hall uses them on their turntables, and so can't fault that. The counterweight, it does have a set screw on the side of it that if you screw it in a little bit, it increases the tension on the counterweight, so it feels a little tighter, or a lot tighter. So that was a good thing. Another thing, and we do have to remember, this is an under $200 turntable. I think they're $189. So we can't expect this thing to be like spaceship quality, but it does have just plain bushings on these pivot points. While the turntable that this is a copy of, the Techniques tone arm, uses spherical bearings with adjustments on it. And here's what the Techniques tone arm looks like, and then here's what this one looks like. And when I was kind of playing with this, because there is like some vertical play in this, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but this whole thing moves up and down a little bit, and it's got a little side-to-side play. And I thought, well, maybe you can adjust these out, and you can. These just tighten down, and this one was actually loose. It took about a full turn before this one bottomed out, and that took out some of the play that I was feeling side to side. And then I used my gram scale, and I set the stylus weight to 3.5 grams, which is pretty heavy. I mean, I need to look and make sure that's what this cartridge specifies, but just so you have some comparison, the other styluses or cartridges that I use are all 1.5 to 2 grams. And so I'm not sure why this one requires so much weight. And honestly, that can't be real good for the vinyl. So probably not going to put any of my really good vinyl on this turntable to test it. We'll do some of my older vinyl that I don't really care about a whole lot. Then I've got the speed tested. I used this little strobe disc, and the best way to use this, well, you can put an app on your phone that pulses at 60 and 50 hertz. It's not super reliable, and the 60 hertz at your wall is on point. I mean, it's going to be spot on. So the best way to use these is use an incandescent light bulb, the old school, so that you can track the flicker and just turn off all the lights in the room except for the incandescent bulb and just watch these, and you'll see a line appear that's not moving. And at 33, it was really rock on steady. 45, it was a little slow, and I had to just kind of bump this pitch control just a little bit to get it, where it was spot on. And so if you're going to use one of these, and, it was saying you adjust this to taste, well, you don't adjust the speed on vinyl to taste. That's, there's a speed it was recorded at. So you probably want to you can download paper ones of these that work just as good as this one. I like this one because it's also got a surface to test the AntiSkate on, and with it set where they said for this cartridge, the AntiSkate seems fairly close. I mean, it just kind of dances around a little bit, which is kind of what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to just rock it off one end or the other. So the AntiSkate works, and it does have 33 and 45. The motor seems fairly quiet. It starts up, and I don't hear anything. I did measure the run out on the platter with a dial indicator, and it does have about 35 thousandths vertical run out on the platter, which I was a little concerned that it might, being a steel platter. It was much worse when I first put it on and tested it, and I'll show you what I did that made a big difference in the vertical run out of the platter. The little plastic deal here has little nubs where it was cast, and one of the little nubs was sticking up pretty high, and it was holding the platter kind of crooked, and it had like over 100 thousandths run out before I got a single edge razor blade, or you could use a little piece of sandpaper and just knock that little nub down. And again, like I said, this platter has got a lot of ring to it. I mean, that's not good. So probably want to get some sort of a rubber mat, and maybe to the company supply it with a rubber mat instead of this little felt one. Might help dampen some of that ringing, because the needle in the groove is making the frequency. That's what picks up in the cartridge, and if the platter is ringing, that's not a good thing. So anyway, it does have a USB out to a PC. It's got Bluetooth, and you can buy this with Bluetooth speakers too. Haven't hooked this up and listened to it. Like I said, I'm not expecting a whole lot with this cartridge that it comes with. And again, like some of this stuff is, I can't tell if this little piece here is plastic or not. It might be metal. I think that is. There's a lot of plastic in some of this other stuff. I mean, when you drop the tone arm, it does a little, I mean, that just sounds kind of cheap. But, hey, it may sound decent. And like I said, I've got a 1895 cartridge with a elliptical stylus that I could put in here, set the weight at 2 grams, and then adjust the AntiSkate with this disc. It's got 4 different places you can put the AntiSkate and get that working with that cartridge, and it sounds pretty decent. It was the cartridge that my Technics 100C came with, and then I upgraded the stylus because actually the cartridge and stylus that came with that Technics 100C was pretty junky, and this is like a step below that. So this is a beginner turntable. It's under $200. I mean, I may be nitpicking here, but they're advertising this as an audiophile turntable, and I know people love these giant killers, and I'm not sure this is a giant killer, but it may be a decent turntable for a casual listener. So, have to figure out how this. It's got a phono and a line switch, and it's online. I would assume that that's probably that it's got line level output, and that when you switch it over to phono, it's just straight from the head shell. We'll figure that out. Probably going to also try like my phono stage and just see what the phono stage that's built into this thing works like, and probably going to be maybe a week before I get the next video out on this, but I just wanted to kind of show you this thing that showed up at the house, and we'll take it from there. So if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Thanks to all you Patreon supporters and you other folks that regularly watch my channel. I really appreciate your support. And until the next video, have a nice day.